Thank you for listening to BizPod with me, Paul.
And me, Rachel.
Our weekly business English podcast where we talk about the news, social media, and hot topics from a business point of view. You'll get a podcast and links to the articles we discuss. This way you can share your thoughts too. Join us as we discuss what's on our minds this week.
Paul, what do you know about George Foreman?
He was a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
He was a minister.
Mm-hmm.
And he invented the George Foreman grill.
I don't think he invented it. He put his name to it.
No, I think he invented it.
No,
I think after he retired from boxing and got fed up with preaching, he decided he's going to become an inventor.
No, you obviously haven't read the article, okay? No, he added his name to the George Foreman. He became the ad pitchman, yeah?
For his George Foreman grill.
I don't think he did invent it.
No.
I'm sure I saw a program where it was somebody else invented it and they needed somebody's name to get it out there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But we'll call it the George Foreman, his grill.
His grill.
Which we've got.
Yeah, we have. In the loft.
in the
Because we
loft.
don't use it anymore because
We don't eat meat.
we don't eat meat.
Yeah.
You can grill vegetables on it.
You can very successfully. We did peppers very nicely and aubergine and anything you wanted that nice seared stripe on.
Yeah, maybe it's something we should explore more a little bit.
Another gadget in the kitchen.
Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, boxing.
Yes. So we're going to talk about the ups and downs of his three careers.
Okay.
Positives, negatives,
Yeah.
advantages, disadvantages. I mean, he was a disadvantaged boy, wasn't he? One of 6, I think he was, and he landed up getting into trouble, breaking into houses, and so he landed up going to the gym to, boxing to keep him off the streets.
Yeah. I think he came from a very sort of, poor, humble background.
Yeah.
A large family, which is...
Single mum, I think, who had 6 kids.
Yeah, which was,
Must be
large
challenging.
families
Yeah.
was sort of more popular back in those days.
Yeah.
Because, he only died at 76. It wasn't that long ago
No.
that he was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he comes from a disadvantaged background, which is obviously a negative for anybody.
Yeah.
But he did all right for himself.
He did. He turned it around. He had a very positive life, not just career. He was a very successful boxer, 76 wins, including 68 knockouts, double that of Muhammad Ali.
But he lost to Muhammad Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle.
Which is what he's famed for. And also rope-a-dope. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
With Ali exhausting Foreman. Foreman was punching, and Ali just waited until he was absolutely exhausted. And
And then just knocked him out.
Yeah, and Ali was older than him, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So he's very famous for that. But then he said that losing to Muhammad Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle was the best thing.
That happened to him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know exactly why, but after maybe you kind of realised maybe that life wasn't just about boxing.
Yeah.
There is so much more to life than just the one thing that you're perhaps good at or known for at that point.
Yeah.
So after quitting boxing, he became a minister or a preacher.
Mm-hmm. Built his own church.
Yeah, again, another sort of very positive, life-affirming thing to do.
Yeah. He said he wanted to get his message out there. Good for the community.
Yeah.
But then even after that, he put his name to this best-selling grill. A decision that went on to bring him fortunes that dwarfed his boxing earnings.
Yeah.
So he was very fortunate.
Certainly. Well, obviously having being famous certainly helps.
Has its advantages, yeah.
Yeah, if you're famous, world renowned as
Olympian.
a boxer.
We didn't mention that. He won 2 Olympic medals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he was pretty good at what he did.
Absolutely.
So if you're famous, if you have that sort of, if you're well known, it certainly helps your success. Mm-hmm. It's certainly an advantage. It's definitely. I don't think it's a disadvantage.
No.
Do you think?
No.
Fame could fame ever be a disadvantage?
Maybe the intrusion.
Yeah.
The paparazzi.
I think that kind of depends on the type of famous person you are. Like, I don't think there are any paparazzi following George Foreman around.
I don't know. I really don't know. But he seems to have had a very good life and full life.
Yeah. 5 wives.
5 wives with 5 sons called George.
Yeah.
Dozen children altogether, and 5 of them boys, all called George. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, George the First all the way to George the Sixth.
Yeah.
Was there a George the Sixth? King George the Sixth?
Isn't that the next George?
Could be. I'm not sure. Well, there you go. Well,
we're talking about the British royal family here.
But if it is, George Foreman beat you to it. There you go.
Well, no, because he would have been George the original, wouldn't he?
George the First.
Oh, yeah. George Senior, George Junior. But you can't have 5 George Juniors, can you?
Junior. It might work something like that.
I thought it was like George Foreman the first, George Foreman the second. No.
I don't know how it works.
Oh, I don't know how it was. No.
It works how you want it to work.
It works, yeah.
It works.
Yeah, but anyway, let's talk a little bit more about
boxing
as a sport, because it is a big business.
It's always been a big business, but I think
Yeah.
it's even bigger now than it ever was before.
For the betting, for the tickets, the glitz, the TV rights, pay-per-view.
And didn't Mike Tyson, was it sometime recently, didn't he have a comeback fight?
I don't know. I just remember the one with Holyfield who he bit his ear off, didn't he, or something?
Yeah, something crazy like that, yeah. Have you ever bet on a boxing match, though?
No, and I don't think I've ever actually seen one, just snippets on TV.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we used to watch the wrestling.
Okay.
Not WWF, proper wrestling.
With
Big Daddy and giant haystacks.
I'm sorry, that's not proper wrestling. That was like the forerunner to the WWF. But I remember when I was growing up, there was another boxer called Barry McGuigan.
Oh, yes, I remember him, yeah.
Barry McGuigan was a great boxer.
Yeah.
And I do remember
Chris
watching.
Chris
Eubanks,
and his son. His son was a boxer as well, though, isn't he?
I remember watching on TV. I've watched on TV some of their fights. It's a brutal sport. But you always get thousands of people in the stadiums watching. And I think a lot of it is a lot of the industry. It's a bit like horse racing. Yeah. I think.
Only exists because
of the betting.
Well, I don't know. But boxing, there is the physical element. Horse racing, if there wasn't betting, there wouldn't be horse racing. Yeah. Whereas with boxing, I think there still would be boxing because I think people enjoy boxing.
Yeah. Yeah,
but in
terms of the amateur boxing and the sportsmanship of it, certainly. The Queensberry rules and all that. But the industry around it, the celebrity sort of focus, the money is all about the betting.
Yeah. But Chris Eubank, to do boxing and then off the ring or out of the ring, he loved dressing up and trying to speak eloquently and wearing his tweed suits and things. And his wife was normal, wasn't she? It used to make me laugh.
Didn't they do a TV show at home with the Eubanks?
He did, yeah.
Chris Eubank, maybe most boxers, I think the public persona that we have of boxers when they're working, it's aggressive, but I think it has to be aggressive. You can't do that job unless you're willing to be aggressive.
Whereas wrestling is all about, it's not real, is it? It's showmanship.
No, exactly. But out
entertainment.
But out of the ring, you don't have to be aggressive. And Chris Eubanks, he seemed like a nice, normal guy. George Foreman seemed like a nice, normal guy.
It's just such a shame that he died at 76, which doesn't seem to be very old at all. But, if he obviously was happy and fulfilled and doing stuff and positive and...
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he's had lots of ups and downs in his life.
As we all do,
yeah. There are always positives and negatives in every decision that you make.
Yeah.
And, you have to look at the advantages that you have, the disadvantages you have.
I think he turned his disadvantages into advantages.
Yeah. I totally agree with you, yeah. Yeah. And looking at that picture, he's got some vegetable kebabs grilling.
Yeah. I think there's a bit of chicken on there as well.
Well, let's ignore the chicken and just pretend it's a vegetable kebab stick.
Yeah, but it's a good gadget, isn't it?
Yeah.
What used to get me was nothing would stick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a very good gadget.
Very good gadget.
Maybe one day soon we'll explore it again.
Yeah, maybe.
In the meantime, rest in peace, George.
Yeah, Okay, bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope you liked our podcast, and please don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with us. Until next time, goodbye.